On April 1st, 2021, I ditched a career I absolutely hated to better myself and do the things I've always wanted to do. And that included my growing love and obsession with Ireland. I want to learn everything: culture, history, mythology, music, and the language. Which, if I'm being honest, looks really hard to learn, but I'm going to give it the old Smith try. Then, of course, there is my love of pubs and the role that they've played throughout history, and no better example of that than on that beautiful, beleaguered island in the North Atlantic, Ireland. April 1st, 2026, I depart for the Emerald Isle, and for 1 year, I'll hike town by town and conduct interviews with pub owners, pub regulars, historians, town know-it-alls, musicians, and basically anybody that wants to talk to me. If you'd like to support the project and the journey, basic Patreon support is only $3 a month, but just liking a video or subscribing to the channel and following the journey is just as helpful. I'm always looking for volunteers to work as liaisons for the project too, so if you live in Ireland and know people, feel free to hit me up. This is a huge goal and I need all the help I can get. The Smitty Learns Irish Pubcast begins April 26th and will be my life's work. Thank you. And a big fat hello. Welcome to the Smith Hole. Welcome to the What the Hell Everything podcast. My name is Smitty. Thank you so much for coming on. What do I do on this podcast? I talk about, rant and ramble about everything, what the hell everything, and nothing at the same time. How do I do it? Well, keep listening. Keep watching, keep listening. You'll find out. I am in a great fucking mood, man. I have all sorts of good things to talk about. I have all sorts of fun things to talk shit about. I have all sorts of things, including the word of the day. But before we get into the word of the day, again, thanks for joining me. If you're new to the podcast, it is also on Spotify and a good way to catch up on podcasts. It's been cool lately. There's been little spikes here and there where you can tell people are checking it out, you know. You should be one of those people. But cool things, man. Like, I'm increasing the amount that I'm doing these live streams. It's been sporadic lately. I know this. I have to admit, the whole life situation has been a struggle lately. But I've finally got the template for what I want to do. I didn't think I could go live for a long time due to the fact that I basically have a makeshift studio using Wi-Fi with not like, what do you call that? Line-in audio or line-in internet rather. And I was like, I don't know if I want to go live, but I've done some reaction marathons and those have worked really well. And I'm increasing those and committing to more live streams. So if you're digging this podcast and you're digging the reactions, the reaction marathons are really the closest thing to like the old radio show I used to do. Just going live, playing music, talking shit, and having really, really a great time. So twice a week on Patreon, Wednesdays and Thursdays at noon, every other Monday at 2 on YouTube, and then the What the Hell Everything podcast. I'm wrapping up the weeks on Friday, noon live stream, What the Hell Everything podcast. The content is only increasing as my confidence is going through the roof with this podcast. And those are the good things that I'm going to be talking about, including all the fun things to talk shit about, you guys. We will get into, first, the word of the day. I like to kick off the show with the word of the day. I like to learn words, and I like to learn things just in general. And sometimes it's fun to just see if you can work. I'm looking at the word of the day right now, and it makes me laugh. See if you can work it into a sentence in some way, shape, or form. Vamoose is the word of the day.
Vamoose.
Vamoose. It means get the fuck out of here in a hurry, I feel like. I mean, I'm paraphrasing. What does it mean? Vamoose. To leave hurried or quickly. Get the fuck out of here in a hurry. That's exactly what I said. Vamos comes from the Spanish word vamos, meaning let's go, in the command form of the verb to go. First recorded in English around 1830 to 1840. Fantastic, man. Vamos. I am not going to vamos yet. I bet I can work that into a sentence in some way, shape, or form. Foist. Man, again, I want to talk about the good things. The good things, man. I do reaction videos, as you probably know, and more and more and more due to the Irish project that I have coming up, and I'm really trying to expand that audience. I'm trying to get Irish people into the show and the Smitty Learns Irish podcast that I have coming up. How do you do that? How do you get people interested? You start doing reaction videos to Irish music, or I at least started, I don't know, a few months ago. Around the same, I don't know. The point of the story is that those have started to take off a little bit, and here and there I'm getting a few more downloads in Ireland, and every once in a while an Irish person reaches out, hey man, can't wait for the project, let's have a fucking pint of Guinness together when you come to Dublin. And I'm like, yes I will. And that's increased a little bit, and as I mentioned with sort of the real life dick punches, it's a lot of times hard to keep a good fucking attitude, man, and to stay motivated, because you're like, oh my God, it's just life weighs you down. And this is absolutely a testament, even though I have not gotten there yet. I have not completed the project yet. And there's always, even though your confidence level's high and you maintain a good attitude, there's still always that thing that nags at you that's like, can I do this? Am I going to be able to? Will people give a fuck? And you just maintain the vision in yourself, So I would say a couple months ago now, I reacted to a band called Aslan, named after the great lion in Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, Aslan. And I did so because the vocalist of the band, and the band's been around for 30 years, since late 80s, I want to say, maybe early 90s. And I didn't know anything about them, but the singer passed away, Christy Dignam, and I did a reaction to it. And just the other day, first of all, the response to that video was awesome, finding out that band was huge in Ireland and much loved. And a couple days ago, the band posted my reaction video on their Facebook page, tagged the page in it, and really responded to a lot of love and a really nice boost in the views on that video, first of all, and then it's resulting in more views. So that's first. Thank you to Aslan for sharing it and appreciating it. But I got contacted by, I don't know if she's the social media manager or the publicist for Aslan, wonderful woman by the name of Denise, I think. I'm pretty sure. And said, hey, I happened to stumble across your video and shared it with the band, and they really appreciated it, so we posted it. And your message that you're doing with this project is, and she used the words, it's very genuine. Like, there's not a lot of pretense to it. I'm paraphrasing right now, but we really gravitated towards how genuine you are with the message. And that was such a boost. First of all, I'm like, of course I will interview this band. So I think we're scheduling that. It's not necessarily confirmed all the way yet, but I think in just a couple weeks I'm going to get those guys on, and I can't wait, man. Just to talk to them and find out more about that band, and it was such a good boost. And the fact that it's just turning more people on to the upcoming podcast, and not to mention the videos that I'm doing now, but just the fact that she confirmed something to me, not only some great tips as far as promoting my things on social media, which are things I need to hear as well. And she really just went above and beyond with some tips, but just the fact that she told me what I already kind of knew. And that's just the fact that if you're genuine and you stay true to what you're trying to do, then that can only work for you, I feel like. You know what I mean? And again, the project is not complete yet, but it just reinforces all of the good things. I talked about the boost before with the Drew and Mike radio show. Now they're a podcast on YouTube and such. supporting and subscribing the channel, and I'm like, man, there's a little boost, and there's a little boost, and there's a little boost. And like, what do I have? 2.5 years left before I get even to the Ireland trip, you know? And I have a lot of friends that are just like, you should go now. You should go now, you know? And as appealing as that is, because there's nothing more I would like to just pick the fuck up and go. I really am trying to stay true to the vision of giving it 5 years and creating a real groundswell. I don't know how big, but at least some sort of base of people in Ireland that are down with what I'm doing. And it's starting to happen. I've actually been chatting with a couple Irish people who are reaching out and saying, hey, dude, I will show you like the things that the tourists don't see. I'm like, I want to do the American touristy thing just to say I did. I'm going to kiss the Blarney Stone, because why the fuck wouldn't you? I need all the goddamn luck and gift to gab I can get. But I want to do all that stuff, but I want to do what the locals are doing, you know? I want to hang and find all the things and learn all the things, you know? I'm fucking fascinated and obsessed with it. So just the fact that people are getting on that you're not full of shit. I mean, I'm full of shit about a lot of things, but in this particular case, it could not have been a bigger boost. So definitely thanks to Aslan, the band, and Denise for reaching out and going above and beyond as well. Now I got to cram. It's like I got to listen to as much music from this band, because I was already going to do an album reaction. That's coming on Patreon soon. I just did another live reaction recording yesterday on a reaction marathon, and it was fucking stellar. Spoiler alert. But it was awesome. And it's just things like that, you know? Yeah. You're like, okay, because the page has already and is getting some really great visibility anyway. And I had already made that decision. I'm going to go live, because I don't necessarily, and hadn't been coming in here to do stuff 5 days a week. I've had to do other things and schedule changes, and okay, I can't do this today, but I'm really committing to 5 days a week here working, because I feel like now is the best time. You know, there is visibility, and it's just backing up what I know I need to do. So, fuck in A. You follow this at all, you're rooting for me. I can't thank you enough, and this is absolute proof. Even though, again, I'm not at the end of this thing yet, it is absolute proof that if you stick to your vision and you maintain a positive attitude and you try to figure out your worth, you can do your things as well. And I'm a firm believer in that. And this is only not making me not change my mind. Way more. Man, I went into Burger King today. And I went to Burger King. I went to the drive-thru. That's a terrible thing I'm doing lately. I'm eating way more fast food. I need to stop that. For as great as I am or not great, as good as I feel about things happening in this realm, I still need to get rid of my shitty diet. But I go into the drive-thru, and same Burger King I went to the other day, where I go through the drive-thru, and this was the same cashier. You know, you do the order and they say, okay, pay at the first window. And I noticed that it was the same guy who had so much anxiety, and you could tell he didn't know, or he was unsure about the register or the debit credit card machine or whatever. You could just tell that he had a lot of anxiety about that. It was unsure. Do I do this now? And I'm like, anytime I come across somebody like that, I always try to just, not be a dick. That's my motto, more or less, my walking motto. Just don't be a fucking dick. If you just are nice to people and try to project some sort of empathy and understanding onto people, you're going to, A, make their day better. B, you're going to make yourself feel better that you weren't a fucking asshole. You know? So I was like, hey, man, thanks a lot. I appreciate it. Have a good day. And I go back there the other day. It wasn't yesterday. I didn't eat Burger King 2 days in a row. Just every other day. And the same guy was at the register. And as I try to empathize and be nice to people that I can tell are not necessarily having a good day, I witnessed like the opposite of it, where the same guy. First of all, I pulled up to that. You can pay at the first window. I pull up to the first window, and there's nobody there. And I'm like, did I pull up at the right fucking window? Did they tell me window 2? And I just stopped at the first window, and I waited there. I was probably there a solid 60 seconds. And I also really try to not get too impatient because I know things are going on, you know. And the same guy, walks in. He's like, "Hey, man," and he goes to the computer, the register, and he goes, "Ugh." And you could just tell he is at anxiety level fucking 11. And I'm like, "Yeah, man, no worries, do your thing." And he tries the thing, and he gets all kind of frantic, and he walks away. And I just know he's going to get a manager to figure out what the fuck's wrong with his register. And immediately, or not immediately, it took a second, he comes back with a manager, and the manager does the thing, and he turns around really quick. And you could just tell by body language that it was one of those things where, especially in the workplace nowadays, it's such a fucking weird dynamic where it's hard to get help. At least in northern Michigan, I can only assume what it's like anywhere else. But it's so hard to get people and to get them to stay. The employees that are coming in a lot of places, it's weird, especially in like service industries, man. What's the best way to put this? Employers are not necessarily equipped to deal with the change in personnel that they're getting, meaning that there is definitely an increased awareness of like mental health. There's definitely an increased personal awareness, I think, of a lot of people that will only deal with a certain amount of bullshit before they're out and they go to the next thing. There's such a difficulty finding people. And I am not one of those people that believes that just people don't want to work. I think they might be finding other things. I don't know really that many people except for a few teenagers that aren't fucking working right now. People are working. People are trying, you know. But it's just this weird thing where this manager clearly was fed up with this employee and having to fix the problems, so to speak. So it was kind of just this, he fixed it and he fucking walked away and turned away. And this guy who was already anxiety ridden was just like, oh, the thing, you can tell he's sweating, man. And he gave me the credit card back and I'm like, "Hey, man, have a good day. Hope your day gets better." And, you know, and it was just one of those things. And I've seen that at several places before where there is, you know, employees that are just different. You know, they have a different brain. They work differently. They work through stress situations differently, and how the manager deals with that, you know, where you could either deal with it with empathy and understanding and try to gently remind somebody, or maybe try explaining things to somebody a little different, maybe a little more proactively or something like that. Working with somebody proactively rather than fucking negative kind of, "Oh God, again, again," you know? One thing that's really been taught to me effectively, I feel like, is that you don't fucking judge people by what you can do. You judge them by what they can do, you know? It's just try to deal with people with empathy and don't be a fucking dick. That is the moral of that story. And try to lift people up. Try to be fucking better, you guys. Also, shout out to anybody on the live stream. If you are on the live stream, feel free to throw a comment in the comment section in the live stream, and I'll try to come back and forth and answer and shoot the shit. But let's scroll through the news, shall we? Not actually scrolling through the news. Fucking Trump. Oh, man. I am more of a believer now. And I'm still fairly skeptical that he will ever see jail time. I think it would be fantastic if he did. Fantastic. That's kind of where he belongs. What the fuck did he... I'm going to have a press conference with evidence of election fraud on Monday. And I was like, well, how long is it going to be before he cancels that? It was about 24 hours or less. It looks like he may be in legitimately deeper and deeper shit. And it is entertaining to see the scramble show that they're trying to put on. It is pretty impressive, and I just wonder what's going to happen if it makes it to the Supreme Court, which it probably will. I still anticipate, again, very, very skeptical, but I almost still anticipate a Donald Trump presidency in 2020 what? 4? No, 2026. I want to say. Thank fuck I'm going to Ireland. You know what is fantastic? Because if you've never heard me mention my living situation, I will go through it briefly. I had a place last year, and the lease got sold out from under me, the year extension, so I basically had 2 months less than to find a place in an area where there's no fucking real estate and no rentals. So I ended up having to live with my parents. Living with your parents at 47, when you hadn't lived with them in 30 fucking years, is kind of a downer. You're used to doing your own thing. You're like, well, I got to get the fuck out of here. Plus, I need a studio for the podcast. So I got a place 45 minutes out, a commute that was not a great idea. It totally fucked me. And I ended up having to move. It was a mutual termination between the landlord and I. I'm like, okay, I'll get out. And you can have this place rented to somebody who can pay the rent, because I was bleeding money and I had to move back in with my fucking parents, even though I love them. And this summer, I'm building a good bankroll of savings, so I will be able to find a place soon, hopefully. Because you know what? The fucking worst possible idea in my head, that I am the guy that lives with his parents doing a fucking podcast. You know? If I didn't have a full-time job and historically my own place, there could be some truth to that. But just the idea that people will make that fucking joke, I want to rage out. But I will say, there are a couple really great things that I love about spending more time with my parents, and I'm really trying to embrace this more. I tried to last summer. I was still pretty antsy to get the fuck out, and I'm still antsy to get the fuck out, but I'm embracing the time I'm getting to spend with my parents more. They're both in their 70s, you know. My dad is looking progressively more and more like my grandfather, his dad. We're just like, wow, he is just kind of putzing around like old Grandpa Smith. And it's kind of adorable. It's great to see him kind of change as a person, you know, becoming an old man and loving his grandkids. I say all the time, you love those grandkids way more than you ever loved us, in a good way, you know. And but spending the time with him and smoking weed with my dad, where quick refresher, I didn't start smoking weed till I was 40. For the longest time, I was very anti-marijuana. Even though I would dabble in it once in a while, I was just like, oh, it makes you fucking lazy. But if a couple friends were, I'd be like, all right, I'll give it a shot. But it never did anything for me. It made me way too fucking high. When I finally, in my 40s, got into it as a mental health treatment, for lack of a better term, which is, I credit 100%. Not 100%. It was mostly me, but a great assist from the weed. But sitting there smoking weed with my dad, which I never fucking thought that I would ever. Legal marijuana, mind you, in the great state of Michigan. And it was really hilarious the other day. A real, almost like a full circle moment, where you're sitting there smoking weed with your dad. It was weed that he got. And we were just sitting there, just kind of, just having a great conversation, just relating, smoking a bowl together. And he's like, oh, this is Maui Wowie. I'm like, fucking what? He's like, yeah, I always heard about Maui Wowie in the 70s. I'm like, yeah, that's Cheech and Chong's weed. I don't think it's Cheech and Chong's weed, but it was mentioned in Cheech and Chong Up in Smoke. And I'm like, no shit. I can't believe 40-something years later, I'm sitting here smoking legal Maui marijuana like they did in Cheech and Chong with my father, who is 72 years old, who has been smoking marijuana since about 1971 is a great PTSD treatment as a Vietnam veteran. You know, I got to throw that out there. He knew it was medication before it was really considered medication, and he always calls it his fucking attitude adjustment, and boy is it ever. But that is just a really, like, it's this weird, profound, full circle thing where you're sitting there smoking weed with your dad. It is fucking different. Speaking of smoking weed and vibing out, my routine kind of, when I get out of work at the full-time job where I bartend and serve at Bourbon 72 Fine Dining Steakhouse in Turtle Creek Casino in Williamsburg, Michigan. You know, it's a long day I put in. Especially if I'm doing this podcast, you know, you come here and you do the things mentally and you get that mental stress sort of, even though it's a good stress, there is such a thing. Then you go to work and you get the mental stress, and not to lie, especially bartending, that job is 100% balls to the wall all the time. It beats the hell out of my feet and legs. It's a sweat show the whole way through, and I love the crew and I love everybody that I work with, but it's a hard job, man. And at the end of it, when do I get out? I am up every day at 7 o'clock. I come in here and do things, and then I go into work from here, and then I get out of work, usually anytime between 10:30 and midnight. Then I come home because I can't go right to sleep. I need a solid hour at least to 90 minutes of decompression where you don't have to do fucking shit, you know? Just sit there with headphones on, listening to tunes. It might be classical music. It could be Irish ballads, whatever. Go out in the garage, smoke a bowl, drink a beer, and come back inside, and I'm sitting on the couch, headphones on, and this is hilarious how your algorithm works too, where you just say words and they pop up as an ad. Because not literally 4 hours prior, I was mentioning the words Jefferson Ocean to somebody at work, and just Jefferson Ocean ad popped up. And I was sitting there just vibing out, and I'm like, this is one time watching this beautiful ad for Jefferson Ocean's rye. Jefferson Ocean is a fantastic fucking bourbon. Aged at sea, and it might be one of my favorite bourbons. My sampling size is pretty small, but that sampling size is going to increase quite a bit. But I was just sitting there watching this beautiful fucking ocean setting and just being like, algorithms are working for me, because I immediately know I'm going to buy this whiskey now. And that's how they get you. Anyway, we should do a podcast soon with some Jefferson Ocean's rye. But I don't do that during when I'm doing a podcast, because I got to go to work later, so never mind. Jefferson Ocean rye. I haven't been into the ryes necessarily. It's a little bit stronger flavor than a bourbon. But I find one every once in a while that I really, really enjoy. What is that movie, The Blind Side? From late 90s? Sandra Bullock? I never watched it before. As much as I love like football movies and uplifting sports movies, and that's the way it was kind of presented, but as much as I love Sandra Bullock, and this is going to sound shitty to some people, but it's the only way I can describe it. I was like, I don't know if I want to watch this movie. There's just something smug and pretentious, like Christian do-gooder vibe to it, where I'm just like, I don't think I want to watch that. So I never did. And I'm glad I didn't. Because I fucking nailed it, apparently. If you're following that story at all, I don't know the name of the football player because I didn't watch the movie and I didn't follow the story that closely. Is it Michael Oher or something like that? Played professional football. The family helped him along the way and just gave him a better life and all this and that, and adopted him. Didn't turn out they adopted him. It turned out they signed a conservatorship, at least according to him. So he's looking to get any money back from that movie and etc. And I hope he does, man. I'm just like, oh, you really were You're really fucking worse. Some Christian do-gooders. Pretentious. Fake Christian do-gooders. Some people might not like that. Some people might not like that term. How would you describe it? How could you describe a smug Christian do-gooder vibe? You just got to see it. You just got to see it, and you can feel it, you know? I'm pretty good at feeling that one out. I've grown up around that shit my whole life. I was, had to take care of a bill that was sitting for a while after I moved out of the last place in May. I had an electric bill standing that I was broke when I moved, so I was like, oh, fuck, I have to wait. Now that I had money saved, I'm like, okay, I can take care of this bill. I called him up, and you want to talk about the worst fucking customer service. I don't even want to get started on my credit union that I have and the terrible moves they're making to automated bullshit. It's one reason why I like dealing with my credit union, because it's a little more personable. Not anymore. It's really making me rethink that. But I go to pay a bill with Consumers Energy, and I had the account number. I call the number, and it says, enter your account number. Da 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 da. Do you need to pay a bill? Press plin. Okay. So I go to do the thing, and I got to get I have to get an operator. I get the operator on the phone. Okay, what are you trying to do? I'm trying to pay a past bill. Okay, what's your account number? I give him the account number after I'd already put it in. Why doesn't it send the account number with it? Are you this number? Da 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 da. Yeah. Okay, let's continue. So he says, okay, I'm going to send you to this automated fucking credit card prompt thing. I'm like, okay. So I go to the thing, and this another extension, and I go to put the thing in, and it goes to have me put my account number in. And I go to put the account number in, it sends me to another automated thing. Oh, you need to talk to a fucking another representative. I go to another representative. Oh, give me your account number. It didn't like send the account number and information, so you got to go through that whole fucking thing again. And then in turn, sent me to another automated credit card prompt that was different from the first one. And I'm like, man, everything we have to deal with is just provided by the worst. I don't know who makes these decisions and says, yeah, that's a good idea. Let's do that. Because as with my credit union that I said I wasn't going to get into, I am going to. You know, one of the things that I appreciated, because I have a credit union in Sheboygan in the Straits area, and I have a credit union in Traverse City that I have another account. And every once in a while, I will transfer funds from the Straits area to the one in Traverse City. It's a shared branch, you know, and it's been that way for years. So I call up the other day, and I'm like, hey, I need to do this to a shared branch. Need to transfer. Oh, I got to send you to this other number, which is clearly like out of state, where they don't have any idea. And I go to this other number, and they're like, oh, what is it? And I tell them the shared branch that I need it transferred to, and they're like, oh, this is not like, oh, this bank or this credit union isn't showing up anywhere on all of these shared branches that we have. It's not showing up. And I'm like, oh, you got to be fucking kidding me. So now their whole thing is completely fucked, or at least from what I need to do with these guys and the reason I had it in the first place. You're changing everything, and I don't fucking like it. Hey, I am, what time is it? 12:36? It's always 4:20 somewhere. Let's do a 4:20 break.
Should I be getting paid for this, boys? Water bomb's so smooth, you don't realize how high you're getting till it's too late. I am fucked up out here.
Okay, 4:20 break for today out of Montana. Beautiful area, gorgeous area. I would love to live there someday if I don't end up living in Ireland, which I would really love to do. You know how you just assume the worst things about people when you read a story? I don't know how much of this otter attack is this woman's fault. I imagine if you get attacked by an otter, and I don't know this to be true, you probably fucked with it in some way, shape, or form. You know, you wanted to pet it, because there's nothing fucking more that I would love to do than pet an otter. You know, I want to swim with the otters. I think they're probably my favorite fucking animal. They're goddamn adorable, but then they're also vicious. They're also vicious. 3 women on the Jefferson River a tubing trip down the Jefferson River turned into a traumatic experience for Jen Royce and her 2 friends when they were attacked by an otter. All 3 women received treatment for the injuries, some of which were more serious than others. Royce recounted the incident in a Facebook post where she called the otter vicious and relentless as it left her with more stitches than she could count and like half an ear. No shit. I wonder what she looks like now. Ah! Oh, man. It looks rough. I don't know what the hell you're smiling about. You got attacked by an otter and your face is all fucked up. Now, again, I assume the worst out of people most of the time. As empathetic as I try to be, I usually assume the worst first. And then I try to back up from there and go, whoa, whoa, whoa. I'm probably way off. 3 women were in the middle of a wide stretch of river on Wednesday evening when the otter appeared behind one of them and attacked. She says, I didn't even get a chance to get the words. There's an otter behind you. Bam! It's Honor. Her face, arms, hands, legs, and ankle were all bit by the otter as it attacked for about 5 minutes. Man, just one otter, though. Because I've watched video, oh man, her arm is fucked. When I watch videos of like an otter attack, I've seen videos where otters take out alligators, other big animals as well, and they swarm, and it is relentless and brutal and crazy to watch. And these ladies are lucky that there wasn't a bunch of otters. Do you think they'll be afraid of otters for the rest of their life? Like, how wouldn't you be? Yeah, they're really cute, but they tore my fucking ear off. My fucking ear. Now, that was the most Irish I've ever sounded right there. My fucking ear. That's your 420 break. Eat some Doritos. Chill out and get your ass back to work.
Hey, old man. I got the fucking munchies real bad. How about you?
Hey. Smoke weed every day.
And now we feel better. Or maybe you do. Hopefully you do. What's next? What do we want to fucking talk about, you guys? This is honestly a pretty good topic, I feel like. Doing these reaction videos, I talk about how I listen to music quite a bit. And it's one thing I've really noticed about myself and how other people, and why I like watching reaction videos in the first place, because I enjoy watching the way people hear music and seeing their take on it. It could be a reaction to a movie and what people notice and how they edit their videos. That's always really interesting to me. But just to see how people listen to music. Do you care more about the lyrics? Do you care more about drums? Do you care more about this? What are you hearing first? And it's a great way to see other people's personalities and how they ingest those things. And then B, it's a great way to especially if you love a song that you're watching a reaction video to, it's a great way to analyze that song, because a lot of times reactors will pick out something you'd never heard before or seen before if you're watching a movie or something like that. But I really, because I say all the time, I don't ever pay attention to lyrics. When I listen to music in my own life, if I find a band that I love, even a lot of times then I don't pay attention to the lyrics. A lot of times the lyrics not a lot of times they'll ruin it for me, but sometimes I just get too caught up in the lyrics, if that makes sense. I want to hear the music. But I'm trying to make a more committed attempt to pay attention to lyrics more, as just a way to open that rock and roll mind and to remove that blockage. And I was thinking the other day, I'm like, well, why wouldn't I? You're always trying to get better, and you're always trying to expand your brain and expand the things that you allow yourself to think and things like that. So why wouldn't you? That's like the ultimate for me. Start checking out the lyrics, bro. Start checking out the lyrics, man. Let's see. Sports, anything happening? The fucking Lions are in preseason tomorrow, and I'm actually really excited. Brother Levi and I and Josh are going to do a Detroit Lions, Kansas City Chiefs watch party live on YouTube for that opening day, fucking opening up the season, opening up the Lions, and can't be more excited for that. Fucking Lions. And then Hard Knocks is on right now. I watched one episode of that, and it didn't make me like Aaron Rodgers even one single bit. Matter of fact, I could probably find more reasons to hate him now. But there's not much going on in sports. It's summer. You know, there's baseball on, Tigers are on. They're iffy. But I just wanted to jump on and say hello. And until next time, you have a good one. Thanks so much for coming on. And I am out.
So long, sucker.
Good night, everybody!
I am so sorry for everything that has happened.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, all right. I'll see you guys there. By the bar and get your face, huh?
Get me paid, bitch!
Sit, boo-boo, sit. Good dog.
I love y'all very much! Peace out!
Good night, ladies.
What the hell? Everything!